registration. Marvin, do you want to lead us in prayer?
Father, we pray that you would be in our midst today as we meet and discuss the business that was signed by the county. Just pray that you would keep our thoughts straight. Pray that everyone will remain civil. We don't have any issues that should bring up those kind of thoughts. We pray that you would bless this time. Pray for your guidance and your wisdom.
Now we'll have to pledge allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Jennifer, do you want to call roll? Sure. Marvin?
Here.
Anna? Here. Ron? Okay, I need approval of the agenda. Would I like the motion to approve?
Motion to approve the
All in favor, say aye. Okay, I need approval of the minutes for the June 11th meeting and the June 24th certification meeting. I'll make a motion.
I'll second.
Everybody agree?
Aye.
Okay. Old business. City of Ringgold, is there anything to report? I don't believe there is. Okay. City of Port Oak. The June 18th general primary runoff is complete. Is there anything we need to discuss? Anything, I want to bring up anything? I just thought it went well.
Not even very well.
I wish we'd had more voters. That would have been,
Yeah.
I mean, we had to plan for 50,000, but we were way short that time. Okay, the risk limiting audit is complete. Is there any discussion about that?
I was here, everything went fine, come out perfect.
Okay. 2025 budget. Or is there issues with that?
Before we go on, there was one thing on the runoff. Election. I understood we had trouble getting enough poll workers, maybe.
We were able to do it. Yeah, I mean, I knew we were going to have problems because it's the summertime vacation.
But I understood, I was also told in the meeting with the Republican Party last week that there were a number of people who weren't used that would have been glad to work. And they have worked in the past.
I don't know who they were. I mean, I used everybody on my list that I had. I contacted every person. I mean, if you want to get me a list of who it is, well, I'll make sure.
Well, I think it calls to attention the problem that I see. It's been going on for a while now. Personally, I think that the management of the poll workers, the hiring of poll workers, the managing of the election completely should be handed back over to the director and the staff. Let them do that. Matter of fact, I just want to make a motion to do that.
I'll second. Well, the election day is for the board. That's the way it's set up. Now, I don't know if that's even a viable option.
What do you mean?
We're, okay. The, how do I explain this? Early voting and, if you look, we're separate. The, Tanya's office handles the registration and then absentee. That's the way it was set up years ago. And that's the way it reads in the code. The election code, the book.
Here's my problem. It's elections. It's all elections.
Oh, I agree.
And I don't understand why. I thought the board's responsibility was.
What she said after it was election day.
The board is responsible for the workings of election day.
You're responsible for everything that has to do with elections
Well,
in reality.
The election office does, they register voters, and part of their job is the absentee. That falls under them. I don't know why, but it does. Am I right, Tanya?
Why does election day not fall under the same responsibility? She's the election director, not the.
We're the election superintendent.
Correct.
So
that means we have supervision.
I mean, you know, if you want to find where it says that we don't have control over the election day, then we'll have to turn it back to them. But I'm not going to turn it back over to them just because we make a decision and if it doesn't follow the code. So I say we table that until we find out what exactly the code says. But I know what the code says.
I haven't seen anything in the code limits what the election office can do as far as they're responsible for everything that has to do with elections, and I don't understand why you would take, if we're going to do that, then if we're going to do it the way you've done it in the past, then there needs to be a representative, both Republicans and the Democrats in the selection of poll workers and all of that.
I mean, we don't.
It don't need to be one person.
We don't. I never asked, well, you're a Democrat or you're a Republican. I mean, that's never asked. I don't care what they are. It's like when you walk through this door. I don't care if you're a Democrat or Republican. We're going to do what's right.
Well, the board hasn't had control of this. You've had control of this.
No, I mean, you can tell me whatever you think. I just asked you if there were some people that didn't, you felt they were ignored to give me their names, and I'll make sure. But I ask everybody that I have, I contact them personally by text because I want to know what they want to do.
It's not something that the board can manage anyway, because the board takes it all five of us. It's not one.
Well, we've always had people had certain things to do in the past. Why don't you want to do that now?
I want to hand it over to the person we've hired to manage the elections, which is our director. I don't understand why we wouldn't give her responsibility over everything.
Well, I suggest we table it until we find out for sure if we can do that.
I think we need to call for the question.
I think we need to table it until we look it up.
I mean, I think we have a motion and a second.
Yes, we do. And we call for the question. Let's take a vote.
Okay. Marvin made a motion to turn everything over to the election office for election day. Do I have as far as staffing? gonna turn over if you're gonna turn over one thing, you have to turn over it all. You know, you just can't pick and choose.
Well, that's what we do.
Well, no, it's not. We've all worked together in the past. You know, somebody goes out and sets up the election. Somebody helps with L&A. Somebody does this. Not every person does it. That's just what I've been doing. Now, if you want to take it over, you take it over, Ed. We shouldn't be turning over our control of the election just because you don't like the way one thing's going.
What were you about to say, Ron?
Oversee, yes. Oversight, exactly.
It's always been this way.
That doesn't mean that's one way to be done.
Well, that's why I said we need to look into it, see what the code
Well,
says.
we have a motion.
Okay, we have a motion to turn everything. Now, what is it we want to turn over?
I want to turn over the responsibility for the hiring and the staffing on the poll workers and the management of the elections, the entirety of the elections, to the director. She is the director. We hired her. She is always under our oversight and under our direction, no matter what. But she should be doing this in the hiring of poll workers. Not more.
Okay, we have that motion.
Jennifer, I'm sorry.
Okay. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed?
No.
No. Okay, vote carries.
That's all I have.
Okay, budget.
I don't have anything to report on the budget, still waiting to hear back from the county manager.
Okay, new business. Budget so far.
In front of you is the May budget, the 8th month. Of course, this has the general primary on it.
Those are 73.4.
That's a little over 67%, which is what 8 months would be. But is that,
Because we have the general primary, and then June is also gonna be over, but for July and August, we'll recoup, September will recoup those, done then, so we'll be skipping inspection.
So the budget's okay. Okay, hosting a legislative meeting September 5th at the Colony. Is everybody okay with that?
Will somebody describe what that is?
We invite the legislatures, local legislatures, and we discuss election. Okay, we've done it twice. One time we did it at night, and we invited everyone. And one time we did it when you had your region.
I spoke to Joseph earlier, because he's having a recent meeting, because I mentioned I would like to do this again. And he had mentioned, getting, legislative committee and some other, people involved, so that we can get more people to turn it off and just start working on participation.
So we could do it on the 5th and handle the region meeting here.
I straight through the holiday, and they have that remote. So, I just need to get back with him, because I want to talk to you first, make sure that all is good, and then, see if they can get their legislative meetings and everybody to that meeting.
I emailed Tony the other day for notification. So, you want to wait and set a time later? Yes. Okay, miscellaneous topics, if I've got anything they want to discuss. I know one thing, I sent y'all an email where they were asking for ideas about what things we would like to see changed. Did anybody read that or did it?
I read it, but I forgot.
I have to turn in suggestions by the 12th, so you got any suggestions?
That's for the meeting.
No, this is for, we're having a legislative, Gabrielle is having a legislative meeting, I think it's one day next week. And they want ideas from us as to what things we would like to see changed in the upcoming legislative session starting in January.
I have a question. Did they leave the length of time of early voting along this last?
Yeah, that is the same.
Personally, I like to see that short. It's ridiculous going through
Okay. Well, what do you, I mean,
Yeah.
what do you think it should be short?
No more than two, and I think a week would be enough.
What do you think? Anybody else have anything?
They're not going to change that.
Yeah. Yeah, runoffs didn't meet that, there's no point in it. There's nobody coming out.
Yeah, they need to change it to where it's the, whoever gets the most votes wins.
That's not going to happen.
Have the second place person gets in there and, hey, that's how I got in, I'm not going to change my runoff. Okay, anything else? Okay, well, that's good, thanks for Catoosa County. That's good. Okay, no hearing. Our next meeting is October the 13th at 4 p.m.
No, we never did.
August. We have
We have executive session.
next meeting, August 13th at 4 p.m. Does anybody have any public comments?
Can you reel it in? Hearing confusion. I want to thank Mr. Marvin for making that motion. I was one of the ones that applied to be a poll worker, and I was not hired. So I'm one of some that complain that they weren't used. And also, Mr. Marvin, did you get the second email? I won't have to read it again. He had said he didn't get the email, or didn't see the email from that I had sent out on the handcountusa.com or causeofamerica.org about returning the hand counting of paper ballots. So I resent it to him. And if he didn't get it, I was going to read it to him. So anyway, I wanted to bring this to your attention. And also, today was, of course, the state election board meeting. which I recommend highly that you go back and listen to or watch. And if you need the link, let me know and I'll be glad to send it to you. Because it was a pretty powerful meeting. Some very good suggestions made. But this is from voterga.org. Georgia's cloud-based voter registration system fails again. Now, I knew I didn't like the ERIC system, and I knew we didn't use the ERIC system here in Catoosa. But apparently we do use the Jarvis system, and I knew I didn't like poll pads, and now I know why. May 22, 2024. The highly controversial Georgia Registration Voter Information System, Jarvis, or Garvis, however they want to say it, malfunctioned statewide for roughly 5 hours from 11 a.m. to 4 p.m. during Election Day, yesterday, which would have been, I guess that's that last, was that the runoff election that we just had? On May 21st. The recently implemented Salesforce cloud-based system allows third-party vendors to manage Georgia voter data outside of Secretary of State Raffensperger's direct control. The system places the voter data in a cloud where it is more vulnerable to cyber attack. The critical Election Day outage made voter data on Georgia's My Voter page inaccessible to all voters attempting to locate their precincts and other voter information. It also prevented all county election offices from verifying voters who turned in their absentee ballots there and from updating receipt of mail-in ballots to prevent double voting. The outage did not affect most voters since precinct voters listed or downloaded to each poll pad in advance for Election Day voter verification. Secretary of State spokesperson Gabriel Sterling admitted the outage was due to an inadequate Salesforce processing resources that are shared with their other customers in the cloud. The Garvis or Jarvis system was announced as development completed on January 19, 2022, but the March 9, 2022 launch was delayed a year until March 2023. The Secretary of State office claimed the November 2023 municipal elections were successful despite Jarvis or Garvis having over 3,500 open support tickets that year and having to freeze defect corrections until December. The 2024 primaries were the first time the system was used in a statewide election. The Secretary of State office attempted to blame the problem on lack of funding for an upgrade. However, the system has never functioned correctly since its implementation. Election directors and board members have repeatedly criticized the system, and some have requested the Secretary of State office return to the more secure ENET system. There's another system for you. Before Georgia's contract signing, Salesforce was cited in a class action lawsuit alleging its platform became infected with malware. The malware acquired personal identifying information of about 20,000 customers later found for sale on the dark web. Salesforce never notified its clients or customers of the breach. The chosen Garvis or Jarvis implementer, Texas-based MTX, had no election system experience, poor performance on a Texas no-bid contract, and only 3 employees in America when Georgia's contract was signed. MTX outsourced programming to India-based staff who are not sworn to uphold the U.S. Constitution. Salesforce is based on another third-party vendor, Amazon Web Services, which deplatformed Parler just as it gained market share and became a threat to other social media platforms. President Mark Benioff, I guess is how it's pronounced, is a California partisan who publicly opposed SB 202 election integrity initiatives before Georgia's contract was signed. Another still pending Georgia lawsuit contends that Secretary Raffensperger violated state law when contracting to purchase the system. The suit allows that the SOS office has no legal authority to place voter data in a cloud. OCGA Section 21-2-211 and doing so violates election privacy law, OCGA Section 21-2-225, and the $3.5 million no-bid contract through Carishsoft exceeded Georgia's $100,000 no-bid limit. Of course, Voter GA co-founder Garland Favorito said Jarvis has proven to be an election security and reliability crisis, as we predicted before installation. Immediate action is required to secure voter data for the 2024 election. Okay. And I've got a copy for you.
Hi, did she complete her registration to be a voice?
Did you hear that?
But you didn't respond, that sounded. Oh, so she still have applications, that's why she did it.
My name is Jim Coles. I'm a resident of Catoosa County. I want to thank you for those motions that you put forth, and I couldn't agree more that we have way too much early voting. It's kind of like an unfunded mandate, a burden that's put on the county, and it's just kind of gotten out of hand. And so anything we can do to kind of tighten that up, I think is a great thing, and I appreciate your thoughts on that. Again, I've just come before you to ask you to please consider just going to, for our 2024 presidential election, using the paper ballots that you're already going to have for your absentee, emergency use, provisional ballots. They're all the same ballots. Just use those to vote on instead of the ballot marking devices, and then hand count them at the precinct level and turn those results in and keep those secure at the precinct. And by the way, your sister works at Wood Station. She does a great job. I was a poll watcher there, and she runs a really tight ship. And I was real impressed at how things ran. And the fact that we had 7 people there working for the 6 hours I was there, and I assumed it was the whole day. And I don't think they had 400 actual voters that came through. I don't know the exact number because I wasn't there when they closed out the polls, but it was a very low number from what I saw. And this was at the primary election on May 21st. So that's the reason I'm asking you to please consider, because we're not talking about large numbers here in our county. As you know, that primary election, I don't know that we had a 10% turnout through the whole county as far as that's who decided the races. This could be very easily managed on paper ballots and counted. I did listen to some of the state election board hearing today, and there was a resolution or something passed, and I can't speak completely of it because I don't know all the details, but I'm sure you guys will look into this or be told about this, but they've adopted hand counting all of the ballots that come out of the tabulators as another check between what the poll tapes say and all the numbers that are gathered to make sure that they have those amount of physical paper ballots. And I think those are going to have to be counted at the precinct level. But I don't quote me on that. That was my understanding of the hearing. So that's something that you guys may want to look into. But that was passed by a 3-2 vote at the State Board of Election hearing today. So thank you for your time.
Is there anyone else? Y'all are looking at me. I need a motion to go into executive session.
Second.